Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning. Hope you're all doing well. Welcome to the stream. Well, today I've got an awesome guest, Mike from Hillbilly Up. Mike, how you doing, mate?
Hey, buddy, how you doing this evening?
Good, mate. Thank you so much for coming on. And I've had the fantastic opportunity to join you on your stream, Gears, Guns, Beer, and Therapy, which is always a lot of fun. So.
Yeah, we try to have a fun time there every Saturday night. You betcha. And I'm so
Yeah,
happy you got to come on. Because we had a blast having you on and everything. And so, yeah, I sure appreciate you for that. And thank you for inviting me here.
no, awesome. Because I'm been enjoying talking to people and getting to know some of the other YouTubers out there, and I wanted to continue to get to know you as well, and hopefully for the viewers as well, they can get to know you and everything that you're all about and your channel. So I just wanted to quickly say hello to TJ. TJ, hope you're having a great day, mate. And Tim, how are you, mate? Hope you're having a great day. Morning or evening. It's hard with the time zones. You're in the evening. I'm in the morning.
Yeah, who would ever thought this hillbilly from Southwest Missouri and the Ozark Mountains would be international worldwide on a live show, huh?
Well, that's it. Same for me. Just little Aussie. So, mate, I just wanted to jump into it. Like, what's the story behind your name, like Hillbilly Up?
Oh man. So when I had planned on starting this channel, I probably spent, a few months at least, maybe a little longer, trying to think of a channel name. And, I knew what I wanted to do with the firearms and stuff. And so thought about it, and I'm like, since I was born and raised here in Ozark Mountains, um, we do have tourist, industry coming into this area because it's very beautiful. And we have basically one town here called Branson, Missouri. A lot of people, may have heard of it throughout the United States. It's a great vacationing area. And so in this area, a lot of stuff, your things are kind of themed a little bit hillbilly sometimes, for the tourist part of it and stuff. And plus, that's my roots, and I wasn't embarrassed of it or nothing. I was as a kid or a teenager. When you're trying to meet girls, it's like, I really worked hard on trying to get a better uh, dialogue on my speech, because as a teenager chasing girls around, you didn't want to be called a hillbilly, you know. But I took it and I'm proud of it, and I wanted hillbilly, something to do with that in my title, and just basically people know where I'm from. And so with that, I just thought, and then it kind of went back to the roots. Some people may have heard. I think it may have been in the 80s, 90s. There was a theme that said "cowboy up." So there were shirts or belt buckles, all this that just said cowboy up. Well, when you seen that cowboy up, you knew that stood for, being, a hard worker on a ranch or whatever, maybe rodeoing and all that. So that kind of classified all that. So I come up with hillbilly up because with us, growing up these mountains, a lot of my parents, my grandparents, great grandparents, they lived off the land, uh, farming, animals, a lot of that stuff. So I kind of thought hillbilly up would be kind of cool. And a lot of people don't really realize, okay, what's hillbilly up mean? And then of course I added American hillbilly up. And so basically my channel's hillbilly up, and then my brand is American hillbilly. And so that's kind of where all that came from.
Tim here put in a comment that he's been to Branson, but he have been
Oh
to
yeah,
what is
Lambert's.
where's that?
Lambert's is home of the throwed rolls. So when they come out and serve you, they have a guy walking around with a basket of these wonderful, delicious, soft, buttery rolls. And
Oh,
so you hold your hand up, and the guy is a very good aim. He'll chunk them across the room when you catch them.
it's
And
making me
plus,
hungry.
very, very good food.
Sounds like like a great place to grow up. And what would be your go-to memory of that?
Of just the area.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh man, we've really grown uh, for from the time I was growing up, and even my parents. We had a beautiful river called the White River that ran through this part of the country, and the Corps of Engineers. They had decided they're going to start damming up this White River in like 3 or 4 different locations, and basically to make electricity and recreation, boating, skiing, all this stuff. And so when that happened in the 50s, when they started damming it up, more and more people started coming here, and the streams, the lake, just our mountains and stuff. It's just really beautiful, and it's such a fun place to grow up because you know through the summer when you're out of school or on a weekend, you and your buddy or whatever, you could just take off out in the woods with a 22 rifle and your dog and just stay out all day, and just walk up and down these hills and and creeks and stuff. And so it's just a great place to grow up. And there's been a lot of people kind of move in here because of just the beauty and the more laid back type situation. It takes a little bit of step back in time. Uh, not as much hustle and bustle as the city and stuff like that. And
Tim is asking earthquakes.
I we never had one that I know of, like in my lifetime. If it was, it may have been. I mean, I don't remember even a small tremor or nothing. But in Missouri, way over on the east side, we do have a fault line over in there that runs down along along like Missouri, Illinois, Tennessee, Kentucky, and all that. So we do have a fault line over there, but we've never had any trouble with it. But
Just
we
wanted
do
to,
have tornadoes. If anybody's heard of a tornado, so
yeah, like I just want to say quickly hello to the Crazy Scotsman, and we've got Nibs from Walnut and Steel. How you doing, mate?
hey
And
guys,
yeah, so he's like lived in MO. I'm not sure what Missouri. Yeah.
yeah, Missouri,
Wasn't
yeah.
really any earthquakes, just tornadoes. Um, some of the earthquakes and tornadoes, we don't get them here. Like they're like the things that you see on the movies. Like
Yeah.
I've only experienced one earthquake in my life, and that was in the Philippines, and not again. So, I'm
Well,
glad we don't have them.
you see these like shows on TV, like storm chasers that chase these tornadoes and stuff.
Yeah.
They're just to the west of us in Oklahoma and Kansas, where it's nice and flat. All the roads go north, south, east, and west, so they can very safely travel around, like where the tornadoes are. And they made their way down here like one time that TV show did. And they said never again because, we have 40, 50 foot tall oak trees. And if you're on a mountain and you can't see, a long ways because of that. I mean, if it's cleared, maybe in one direction, but our roads, they go up and down and wind around all the mountains. There's no north, south. I mean, you might be heading the direction south on a road that says north something, because eventually it's going to turn and head back north. That road will take you north, but it's going to go north, south, east, west, all those directions, before you get, northbound. And so there's Hasbro out there too.
Yes, good morning. I get confused with where everybody's at. So, hi Hasbro, hope you're doing well. Yes, it was really good to catch up with you last week as well. Fascinating to learn about yourself there, Brian, and with the engineering and the RC planes, and like it's always interesting. So, if you guys haven't seen that conversation, check out my previous videos. It was a really good one. But yeah, like the tornadoes, like we see the guys chasing tornadoes on the TV and whatnot, and I think that video was storm chasers, and they had a couple of special modified vehicles, if I remember, and one guy kept going Dominator, 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 Dominator. As he drove around in his modified truck that could lower itself to the ground, and and they're trying to get these things into tornadoes, and it's crazy, but I wouldn't want to put myself there, and even some of those guys that fly those airplanes into the tornadoes, not tornadoes, into hurricanes. That's some wild stuff.
Yeah,
So,
definitely it is. And around here, you get a tornado. Hopefully, you have a basement, or at least what we call a walkout basement, because we have a lot of hills. So, 3 sides of it will be covered of the basement, and then it might be a walk out the back or something. And so, if you can take shelter in one of those, that's you're in pretty good shape. But if not, you just maybe head for the holler and hug a tree and hope that you make it. And then growing up, my grandparents, all them, they had what they called a cellar. So it's dug into the ground, and that's where they might hang up their meat, their canned vegetables, all that stuff, and so.
Yeah, it's absolutely wild, and the thing that blows my mind is that there's actually really no warning. You just hear the sirens, and then you got to go, running real quick. Here we get cyclones, which is exactly the same as a hurricane. And for Brian, yes, it does spin clockwise. So we get tons of warning. So like the safety aspect of when you're actually going to get a good one, you're well and truly prepared by at least a week. But even the running joke is that the weatherman just spins a wheel and see what happens, because even sometimes these hurricanes or cyclones, they can change direction and move at least 100 kilometers north or south from you within a day. So it's crazy. And Hasbro, we call them cyclones. Philippines area is typhoons, and you guys are hurricanes. So pretty much all the same thing. So it's certainly I prefer to live here. I'd much prefer to be dodging that than earthquakes and tornadoes.
Yeah, yeah, we don't even have a siren where we're at or nothing. So let's usually rely on the local radio station or TV or something. So
Oh, well, if you see a tree going sideways, then you've got a good idea that it's going to come.
yeah, exactly.
So you mentioned before that you're like when you're a young fellow, you had a 22. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah. So my very first 22, of course, started out with a BB gun and a pellet gun, and then a 22 rifle, and it was a lever action single shot 22 rifle, and it was made by Ithaca, and wood stock, everything, and so iron sights, and that was what I grew up with shooting, and it's great. It's single shot, and believe it or not, you learned how to load it pretty quick, because when you activated the lever on the handle, it had a drop down block or whatever on the front that tilted down to your chamber. So as soon as you cocked your lever, it shot the old shell out, and then you could just slide another one right in the chamber and pull it back up, and then it is hammer fired. So, but
Yeah, like shooting single shot is fun. We do a lot of it nowadays for competition. A lot of these competitions don't even allow magazines, though all the rifles have to be single shot. And a couple of the Seiko's got a magazine, but we've got a single load feed ramp in it. And
Mhm.
my Benchrest Nitro, it's only single shot. Like, it doesn't have magazines or nothing in it. So you have a choice of single load or single load. So
Oh yeah,
yeah, you can't modify it to take a magazine. And I quite enjoy it. Like, there's for me, I find magazines actually difficult, so I prefer a single loader. Um, it's always the fun part of it, to be able to go through the motions. I find it, as you in your show, guns, beer, and therapy. Like, doing a lot of single loading, I find it very therapeutic, just to constantly go through the motions of having your rounds there and putting them in one by one, because
hmm
you got to think about every single shot. And even, like, yeah, with single loading, you want to make sure that you put the round in correctly, because if the round bumps the side of the chamber, you can shave lead off the round, which can stuff up your accuracy. So,
yeah,
um, sometimes you might stuff up loading up a round, and you quickly give it a flick off, and no, all right, that's going to be a fouler one for next week. So,
most definitely. And I did pull up a few pictures here. If you'd like for me to share them, just so people kind of have an idea of what it looks like in this area.
yeah,
And
definitely.
uh, let's see. Okay, I couldn't get them as big, but a lot of people's heard of Bass Pro, right? Well, Bass Pro, which they're big in hunting, fishing, and all this, um, they have this what they call a Dogwood Canyon, and this is 20 some hundred acres that my grandfather owned. I grew up on this, and so of course it looks different now. It has a creek running all the way through these 20 some hundred acres, hills on both sides and everything. But the when Dogwood Canyon bought it, they come in, they really manicured everything. They put in some buildings and all this, and so it's not really. I can't not get this to get very big here in the screen. I don't know if I. Yeah, I can't make it bigger, but we do have 4 seasons here. We have roughly 3 months of spring, 3 months of summer, 3 months of fall, and 3 months of winter. So we do see all 4 seasons here. And this is like their lodge. This is on the Little Indian Creek, and there's some more pictures there. They
Right.
actually have buffalo on there now that they do process and serve at their restaurant. Of course, we didn't have buffalo then, but you can see here the change of the leaves and the trees and everything, and it's just really beautiful. I don't know why it kicked me to that, but I wish. See, maybe I can get pictures here. I don't know. I don't know if it shows. No, it does not show pictures on this. I wish it did, so I could. Maybe this one does. Nah, it's just look at all this. A lot of people have weddings and stuff down there, and so they had. You remember? I don't know if you've seen the deal about that they have a TV channel. They come out and build like these fancy tree houses.
No, don't.
Well, they even built one down here, and this is it. And you can go into it, and more of the tree house. See, maybe we'll show a little bit more, but yeah, here's a creek. There's trout fishing and stuff in it. Bike paths. Okay, there's a little bit better of the river. And then this is a little more of an aerial shot of our mountains and stuff. You can see some waterfalls there. I mean, it's just absolutely beautiful place. Grew up there. Yeah, those will know. I'm pretty sure that's Johnny Morris there back in the day, the guy that owns Bass Pro. But
Hasbro was wondering, if there's trout or fly fishing there.
yeah, they have the trout. You can do the fly fishing or baits and stuff. And I wish I could get some better pictures that was bigger. But while we're going on here, let's go ahead and end this, and I will search, see if I can get some full-size pictures while we're talking and stuff too, because those didn't even really, give it justice to, But
No, that's the hard part. Photos and videos never, give it justice. Sometimes when you're trying to take photos of, beautiful places like that, it never truly shows. We got Boom here as well. So, g'day, Boom. Hope you're doing well, mate.
Hey, Boomstick. How you doing, buddy?
Is that something that you also like to do? Is a little bit of fishing and stuff like that there?
Oh yeah, we grew up fishing, floating the rivers, fishing on the lake here, Table Rock Lake. If you really like nature, it's definitely a great place to grow up and visit, because we have a lot of beautiful streams that's navigational by canoes and stuff like that. And then a lot of the stuff, I live just 6 miles from the Arkansas line. And so a lot of this, excuse me, a lot of this stuff, these creeks and stuff flow from Arkansas into here, believe it or not, and then on down our lake or White River, and then on over into the Mississippi. And so, sometimes, we'll go down in Arkansas. There's Buffalo River down there. It's absolutely beautiful. Just several different rivers and stuff. And it's just, I really love canoeing and floating and kayaking. Grew up doing it. Sometimes we go on a all weekend float trip to where, we load our tent and everything in the canoe with us, float, and get out on a gravel bar, sub camp. Of course, we'd bring some food with us, but we'd start a fire, we'd cook fish and stuff, and then pack everything up and float again, the next day. And so, yeah, it's just a great deal for nature. Hunting, we have a lot of, great hunting here too. So.
Sounds like an amazing place. I'm jealous.
It's a lot of fun. It really is.
And that's where you also got into shooting with your first firearm. And did you do any hunting with it or anything like that?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, we grew up, hunting squirrels and and stuff like that, rabbit. And for the way we grew up, if we were going to hunt, anything, kill anything, then it was to eat. And it's still that way, even though it might be a sport, but yeah, we still eat everything that we hunt. And same way fishing, we do a lot of catch and release on the fishing part, but yeah, definitely, you hunt for, like, I was always taught, like, you don't shoot anything that you're not going to eat, which there is a fine line there when it comes to like possums and
Yeah.
coyotes. Some stuff you do have to take out, but you can eat them, I assume. But it's just not a very uh, tasty meal. No doubt about
Old,
that.
old boomers asked me what does a kangaroo or old roo taste like. It's a very uh, it's like a steak on steroids. Like it's very uh, thick meat, I would describe it, and it's got a very strong flavor, but it's not like a bad flavor. The meat is very very dark red, and I actually quite like it. Like if you do it in like we like to do it in like a bit of a stew, like really slow cook it, so then becomes extremely tender. If you do try to rush it a lot, it can become very tough. But if you do it like in a stew sort of way, or in a slow cooker, just simply just falls apart. Um, and I'm trying to get my wife to do it, to eat it, but she's still very shy, and she doesn't want to go anywhere near it. She's afraid of it, no, Brian and definitely not chicken. It's definitely like a cow and everything like that. So definitely a very strong flavor, but it's a really good flavor. And TJ, I honestly haven't tried emu, surprisingly, as being as an Aussie. It's on the to do list, because here we pretty much eat everything. I think we're one of the only countries in the world that eats our coat of arms. So everybody is a little bit precious about their animals, but we will if we can get it, we can eat it. Except if it's a possum, we don't eat possums.
Oh yeah.
Yes, a steak, but a little gamey. Yeah, that's right. It is. It has got a bit of a flavor to it, but it's not that. Um, it's not that strong. I think everybody is a little bit more afraid of it, because it's a kangaroo. But I think I was talking to Brian about this last week. Is that you can purchase kangaroo actually from the standard grocery shop. Um, so it's a very popular meat. I assume they're probably farmed. I don't think they'd be wild, because they can get a little bit iffy with some of the diseases and whatnot they get. But like a lot of the farmed animals are well and truly in stock. Same as camel and everything like that is very very common. But again, like regional areas have different sort of animals that you can get. There is a very nice restaurant that you can go to, and you can sample all the different animals, roo and emu and crocodile, camels, and they just walk around with a big knife and a big chunk of meat, and you just holler at them, and they come along to your plate and just literally just shave off as much as you can. So, um, yeah, it's a really nice dining experience. That's for sure. And like coming back to your point about not shooting anything that you're not going to eat. Look, that's one of my biggest things is that you know I'm not really a fan of these guys going overseas and shooting like a lion or something like that. That doesn't really sit well with me, just for the sheer sport of it.
Mhm.
Um, what's your thoughts about that style of shooting?
Oh man, that falls in line of sport and trophy. And I do have a few friends that's been to Africa and a few places just to basically get the mount. But my one friend, when they went the tour deal they went on in Africa, all the meat was eaten or gave to local people. So that is one thing that he really made sure when they booked it and everything, that the meat wouldn't go to waste. And so, there is programs out there where you can take some safaris or whatever, and the meat's not wasted. And so, he was real happy to do that, and he got to basically keep the trophy part of it, but the meat wasn't wasted. And I believe he said pretty much everything they shot, if basically if it was edible, that they did get to try some of it. So there is some of those places out there like that. But
Is that something that you want to try?
oh man, I don't know. I have had kangaroo, but it was at the Outback restaurant, and you know, they you can get kangaroo there, and it's really good. I liked it. But yeah,
Is the Outback like an Australian themed restaurant? I'm assuming.
yeah, it's the Australian restaurant in the United States. Same as we have like you know supposedly Italian food, places and stuff like that. But what's really funny about like our Italian restaurant, probably one of the biggest ones is uh man, I can't think of it right now. I'm sure somebody out in the chat knows it. The endless breadsticks and all that. But uh mainly like 80 some percent of their main stuff on the menu is chicken. But when you go to Italy and eat, Italian, that food, like that's not that much of chicken on the menus. It's more veal, goat, just beef, other stuff. Olive Garden, yeah, Olive Garden, yeah, and so like some of those places really get out of culture, and I'm sure like the Outback, everybody, the waitresses and bartenders and everything's there. They're wearing the hat and they got the
Most
khakis
people, at
on.
least we don't wear those hats.
Yeah, yeah. It's more of like I guess what you call it, themed restaurant. And, of course they must usually have food, and yeah, I see people out there saying gator tail is good. That's good too. Yeah. But
So
so
quickly say hello to Fairview. Hope you're doing well, mate. And George, hope you're doing well too, mate. Thanks for joining us. So, a lot of these places, I'm laughing because like they're probably doing the old stereotypical idea of what Aussies are, and the hats with the cork and the string, I guess. I've
yeah.
not seen anybody in my life wear a hat like that. It's sort of a tourist thing. We all sell the hats to tourists so they can make
Mhm.
some money, but
Yeah. Yeah, we have theme parks here too, Silver City and a lot of places like that. And they'll sell like the corn cob pipes and then like the felt, hat that's kind of up in a point and got a patch on it and something that you don't see. Yeah, back in the day there was corn cob pipes, because it was, people could actually make them and stuff. And so, yeah, it's a lot of that theme stuff that's this goes to, for tourists now, like moonshine. Um, they're like we are legally able to make so many gallon, ourselves here, and so, that's kind of a fun deal, an art, to make it and stuff. And so, you know, it's really good deal. And then every time we get visitors from out of state or even from other countries, they all want to shoot guns and taste moonshine.
Yeah, I'd be down for that.
Yeah,
I'd be keen for that to have a go at some moonshine, and you see those. Again, I got to only know it through the TV. The moonshiners where they're hiding in a bush somewhere, and then they got the police chasing them, and that's what I'm thinking. A lot of that sort of stuff that you see on TV is completely falsified,
yeah,
just for the ratings, but. Yeah, that's cool. You can make a little bit of moonshine and have a bit of fun, and
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's fun. You got a
that's got
crocodile
a knife.
Dundee now.
Actually, like that's I don't actually have a Crocodile Dundee knife, surprisingly. Good old pig stickers. That's what we call them. Those big knives like that. Yeah, we call them pig stickers. What is it, TJ? Have you ever tried turtle eggs?
Yeah. Actually, I've ate turtle soup or stew, however you want to call it, and some turtle eggs. Yeah, when we'd have a turtle on the trot line there in the lake, which what that is let's usually across a cove. We'll run a heavy duty, basically fishing line, and every so many feet it's got leads off of it where you can put bait. And most usually, like, you leave it overnight and you can come back and check it every, so many hours or whatever. And you'll have catfish or whatever on it. But sometimes you get turtle. They'll come up and eat that bait, then they'll get hooked. So basically, what, my grandfather and everybody's done is they just cut the neck off the turtle and leave it there for bait, because it's already on the hook, the turtle head and neck is. And then the turtle is, brought home and it's made. And there's 7 different flavors of meat in a turtle.
Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yep. So, yeah, my grandma made turtle stew or soup. I don't know, whatever it was. It was always really good. But,
Yeah, nice. What would be one of your favorite ones?
as far as like wild game,
Yeah.
here. Oh man, of course we really like our deer and stuff like that. Squirrel's always fun. You can do squirrel in quite a bit different ways. You can basically cook the meat on a rod like a shish kebab. It can be cooked and used in like gravy for like breakfast gravy and stuff like that. And then I also seen Hasbro said ask about the banjos. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's another thing that.
So what happens when the banjos happen?
Yeah. Well, there's a movie called Deliverance a long time ago, which I think that was actually filmed down in Atlanta, in Georgia area, state of Georgia. But basically, hillbillies but yeah, bluegrass music and all that was something that was really populated from the mountains, all the mountainous areas. And so was square dancing. And the reason square dancing is because it didn't take up as much room. And most usually they had their like dances like in somebody's barn or whatever. And so you'd have a bunch of people show up. And so the square dancing was a big hit because, it got everybody kind of dancing together in a smaller area and stuff. So, but,
Is that when you're chasing the ladies?
yeah. Yep. And they call them socials. We used to have, it was nothing all the time to have some social, might, have everything always included food and, and then most usually some of the guys would bring what they called their bottle, which was either moonshine or whiskey of some sort. And basically a big get together. And then like our churches and stuff, they had a lot of what they called ice cream socials. So it'd be like a community deal, and everybody bring different flavors or their favorite flavors of homemade ice cream. And that stuff's awesome too.
Fairview reckons that gators are pests and they eat our pets. Illegal to shoot, but funny how they can just disappear.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Some things do just simply disappear. It's a mystery.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how it was like in Australia where you're from, but here, especially with my grandparents and all that, there's a lot of big families because you needed free labor, working in the fields or, whatever growing up. And so they really tried to make food stretch far, quite a ways. And so, that's a lot where like ham and beans, was the reason, because you had leftover ham, you had beans, cornbread was really cheap to make. So they just put meals together. biscuits and gravy. There's not a whole lot of ingredients in those. And so, yeah, the food here has always been wonderful. I mean, it's just great home cooking, out of cast iron skillets, and yeah, food's just always been amazing. And actually, I own a restaurant. It's been closed for a few years because of the COVID, but that's basically what we did there. Is we just had home cooked meals. Everything is made from cast iron. Pretty much everything from scratch. And we had a lot of people travel through there. We had guest book not only consisted of people from other states but also from other countries. Stopped at our little old restaurant in our town, so.
Yeah, that's right. That connection with family is, extremely important. And no matter where you are in the world, food is such a combining factor that, brings people together. And I sort of refer it back to your show, like guns, beer, and therapy. Therapy certainly can be used for with food and everything like that, and that whole family connection. Maybe not a squirrel, but because it might be a bit lean, but like enjoying that.
Yeah, and that's kind of why we named our live stream "Guns, Beer, and Therapy," is because we are to a supported community, and then the beer was basically I almost named it like Guns Moonshine, and Therapy, but not a lot of people had moonshine, but we're not really promoting drinking, but it's just where you can just relax, if you want to kick back, be involved in the show, whatever. It don't matter if it's a hot tea, whatever you like, buttermilk, I mean, a beer, whatever, but basically just relax. And then with that, and with people coming together and having a good time, just getting their minds off of everyday news and stuff like that, that's the therapy part, so like, definitely not a psychiatrist by any means. And if I was, I don't think anybody'd want to come visit me, but anyway,
I wouldn't say that.
it's just the therapy was just like I said, people just relaxing, spending a couple hours just having fun. And so
Yeah, but TJ's Kentucky Fried Squirrel.
yeah,
Sounds all right.
Yeah, squirrel, like you'll see sometimes they'll gut it and everything and skin it, and then it'll be cooked in soups and stuff. The meat can be cut off and battered and fried. It can be baked. And like I said, there's not a whole lot of meat on them, but it is it's pretty lean because of their diet and stuff. And hard seltzer there, Scotsman brings up. Oh man, that was something that one, I don't remember family get together. One of my daughters had brought over like 6-pack or 12-pack, whatever, of this hard seltzer, and different flavors and everything. And she'd never tried it. She just stopped at the store, and, brought it, and she tried it, and she's like, this is okay. It's not bad. And my wife tried one. She's like, yeah, it's okay. It's just bubbly and stuff. So the rest of it has been left in my fridge, right? And I tried my wife's. So I'm like, oh man, that's really bubbly, and I don't like it at all. It tastes like Alka-Seltzer to me personally. And so this stuff was just left in my fridge, for a long time. Nobody, I'd offered like, you guys want some hard seltzer? And everybody's like, no. And so I'm like, yeah, nobody really likes this stuff. And so I shot it on my video, like 1 or 2 cans, and about, and then everybody's like, yeah, I don't like hard seltzer. And it got to where some people were literally sending me some hard seltzer to shoot, in the mail.
Yeah, right.
They're like, I bought like a 12-pack of this and just to see if you're bluffing, and it is nasty. So here's the rest of it, And so that's kind of how the hard seltzer got involved in this channel. But yeah, that's been going on almost 3 years now.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Old George reckons squirrel and dumplings are awesome.
Very good, yes. Yeah. Yeah, squirrel and dumplings, chicken and dumplings. You put a dumpling with anything, it tastes wonderful, pretty much. And so,
Yeah, if I ever get the opportunity to travel there, I'd be keen to try that.
oh
I'm not,
yeah,
I'm not that afraid. As long as it doesn't get up and walk off the plate. I'm pretty good with it.
oh, well, we've had
Uh,
10 exchange students, and some of the foods that they brought are like recipes they brought, and they tell us about some of the foods they've had. Nothing around here is anywhere close to being as gross as what some of the stuff is in other countries. I'll tell you that. I mean, was it haggis where it's like cooked inside of the intestines and stuff
yeah.
like that, and just there's there's some different foods out there, but
What are some of the other ones that grossed you out?
Now I do know that it had been eaten in this area, but not very many people. But just basically fried chicken feet.
Yeah, that's
grilled.
yeah. No, I can't do. I
And
can't
I
do
did
chicken.
try it because we
Mm.
had chickens and stuff here, and one of our exchange students from South Africa, he's like, "Oh, it's good stuff," And so we went and killed some of our chickens for food, everything. He's like, "We gotta save the feet. We gotta save the feet so we can cook them." And so I let him, like, we worked together and got how to cook them on the grill and all that stuff. And yeah, it was not something that I would really you know care to try again.
Yeah, I just see him as back scratches. It just grosses me out. Like the nails there and everything, scratching in the dirt and the mud and all the other gross stuff. And then you got to eat. Ah, no, 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 no.
Oh,
Oh,
frog legs. Yeah,
frog legs.
definitely.
Yeah, that's a
Very good.
frog legs are good, are they?
Hmm.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Now that is one that you can relate to chicken. Yeah, real close. Yeah, it's just a really good white meat, and yeah, and it's free if you go to a restaurant and order a set of frog legs. It'll probably cost you 20, 30, maybe $20+, maybe nowadays $30 for like 2 sets of frog legs. Whereas you can just go out to the pond or the creek or the lake and gig your own, and so
What about snails? Escargot.
we don't really. It's not a delicacy here at all. Yeah, now we do which just kind of goes along with like Louisiana and stuff, but we do have freshwater crawfish that we do catch and eat. Yeah, that's really good. They're boiled up.
Yeah, no, they are
Uh,
very good. We have
yeah,
them as well. We like catching them in the especially the freshwater ones. In the dams. They're very nice.
yeah.
What's a George
Chitlins.
thing? A chitlin? What is a chitlin?
Well, I think it kind of varies in different places. Um, I've never tried it because it's just something a little different that I have seen around here, or people talk about, but it's just something that didn't really sound very appetizing to me, and so, but
Mm. Wow,
I,
the whole thing with food is certainly making me hungry, and I know after we finish having a conversation, I'm going to go pester my wife to see what we got in the fridge. Hopefully, it's not a squirrel or a chicken feed or a
yeah,
frog.
Yeah. Now, see, another thing here too, like our biscuits and gravy and ham and beans and stuff like that. A lot of desserts. I don't know. I'm sure there's a lot of other places that might do like cobblers. I know a lot of people do pies, but a cobbler is really something that's been very popular here over the years and years. And so basically, instead of it being in a pie form with your crust on the outside of the pie, the breading for the basically the batter for the breading and everything's poured in the pie mix. So, and kind of on top of it. So you have a nice kind of a thick, you know, not really a crust, but a dough on top, and then all your pie fillings or whatever and stuff. Okay, deep fried, yeah, deep fried intestines, and but
It, I've seen it, a few things, people mentioning frog's legs and chicken, frog legs and chicken feet, and George mentioned deep fried intestine.
that's
I
the
don't know which,
chiclets.
yeah, like which way would it be? Is all these cuisines influenced by the Asian side of things, or is it the opposite way around? Because all these foods that we're talking about, are very heavily influenced in the Philippines and Southeast Asia. And it's fascinating that a lot of the like I'm just learning now. There's a lot of crossover. Um, yeah, which I didn't realize that was a crossover like that.
I think a lot of it might just be from surviving in your area. What you have on hand. I know it was for like around here. Your fish, your meat, your dough. So when you went, a lot of times, I had great a great grandmother that we called Granny, and when she went to the grocery store, she basically just got flour and sugar and a few things. Uh, that's all she bought because all the meat, from that she can make so much stuff. Now, like she would get like cocoa for chocolate, some of that stuff. But yeah, she didn't go to the store and buy, you know, pre-made meals or a lot of that stuff. Bread, she'd bake her own bread and slice it. She didn't buy bread. Uh, so I think it's just a lot of the way they grew up and what was available for them and how they were uh, taught.
Yeah, right. Well, we got Chris. G'day, Chris. Hope
Hey,
you're all
Chris.
good. Watch the road, mate. uh, Brian, you've done some? Have you done some racing, or is this
Yeah, yeah, I've raced pretty much all my life.
okay?
Started out, I mean, motorcycles, stuff like that. I mean, we had a riding lawnmower. If I could race a neighbor kid on a riding lawnmower, I'd do that. I mean, we just, how kids are. And, but yeah, I did race motorcycles, what they call trial, which would be through the hills and stuff like that, trails. And then also motocross to where you had the big jumps and all that stuff. And then when I turned 16, I started drag racing, which is just the straight line, two cars. And then a little bit older, started also doing dirt track racing, which is the oval tracks, on dirt. And so, yeah, we've grew up racing. And so it's a lot of fun. I don't get to do much of it anymore like I used to, but yeah, I mean, I still have some engines and cars, so, I could give me a week, I could have something ready to race,
Yeah, right.
But yeah,
What- So if we're going to have a week, like 1 week, what would you build?
uh, well, it depends on what. If we're going circle track racing, then it'd take a little longer because I do have a frame out there, the roll cage and stuff in it, but it'd take a little bit longer. Whereas drag racing, probably one of my Camaros, uh, one's set up for daily road driving, but I can make a few alternations on that by gears, carburetor, and a few things where it would be, decent on the strip, or I could, get one of my other Camaros and put like a big motor in it that I already have and stuff, and that I used to race and stuff. So yeah, it's something that we've just always enjoyed, old classic cars and racing and stuff. So yeah.
And when you're talking about that sort of racing, you're talking about the one where you just in the stadium where you go round and around. Is that
Yeah.
the type of? Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we really don't have much like rally racing like you see in some other countries. And then, but there is like uh basically kind of same as like our NASCAR. Most of their tracks are oval tracks, but they do have what they call a road course. Um, but there's not, I don't know of any road courses around here. It seems like California, other places have, more road courses for that where you got the corners and stuff. But yeah, it's something I've never done. It's pretty much if you happen to street race around here, it's a major road course because like the road, we don't have very many straight, roads. I mean, because they just go across the hilltops and stuff. So you get a lot of turns and down over the valley, the hollers and back up the hill. And so, yeah, it's this driving around here is kind of like a road course.
I want to see if I can bring up a picture because I want to know if you've heard of a thing called Bathurst 500, where they're racing big sedan cars around through the mountains. And it's probably the country pretty much shuts down for the day because every single person wants to sit there and watch the Bathurst. You got different sort of styles, of vehicles, but most of them are V8s, and a lot of those sort of tracks can be very, very difficult where they're literally racing it up through the mountains. And that's sort of I wish I could make it bigger. I'm same sort of problem as you, but it's a very, very technical, challenging race. And if you love big cars, racing through the mountains, there's one for you. Like you can see, like the elevation changes.
Oh, elevation, yeah, it's got a topo.
Yeah, like how technically challenging it is, and this track as Crazy Scotsman, it's definitely not a left turn. There's a few little right turns in it as well. But they're some of the big cars. There used to be only Ford and Holden were the two manufacturers that were in it, but they want to continue to encourage viewers, and there are other models and manufacturers coming into it now, and I'm not really a fan of it where they're looking now towards the hybrids and the more electric cars and everything like that. The big V8s, that's what I used to love, is those big V8s that were smashing around through the mountain, and they're literally just racing side by side and 200 300 kilometers an hour. I don't know how to convert that. I'm sorry, but it's extremely quick of their racing, and you're pretty much guaranteed a crash on the first corner on the race. And this sort of race, it certainly shuts down the country, and they do a lot of races through the city as well. So obviously got the mountain track, but they go through the Gold Coast and Melbourne and all those sort of places. So and what Crazy Scotsman's saying here is he watches the F1s back in the 90s before it all went bullshit. Yeah, exactly right. It's same sort of trajectory of the sport, but before we used to be really good, where the driver, you actually were a driver, and
it's kind of how our stock car racing started out. Was the cars were pretty much all they had to be production, which they're still supposed to be production stock cars. So everybody's car runs similar to the same speed. So it really, the driver was what made race, and yeah, smash that like button, of course.
Yeah, George, Mighty Car Mods, they're an Aussie car YouTube channel. They've been around for, I think about 10 years making content, and they go through and show people how to build and do upgrades and everything like that. And they heavily they like influence from Japan and all those sort of places. They recently were in Canada. They went and did a modification on Linus, Linus Tech Tips. They went and did a bit of a tinkering on one of his staff members' cars, and so Mighty Car Mods is certainly a great channel for people that are looking for that sort of interesting content around about making modifications to vehicles and everything like that.
I do know something that I heard was big in Australia, and it's also big here too, is burnout contest. Because if somebody watched Cletus McFarlane, he has a YouTube channel, and he's went to Australia for like some of these burnout contests, and then some of the guys from Australia has come here for burnout contests and stuff. So basically, it's like sometimes it's different shape, but it's a concrete barrier to where they come in and they're doing basically smoking tires the whole time, and there's different points for tapping the wall, and and if you blow both tires, and so. But I didn't know, is it actually very popular in Australia?
It is, yeah. Like we have the in summertime, you have the weekend burnout competition. We have the stock cars going around their racetrack. Where I live, it's not too far away from the track, and you can hear the engines and the people screaming and really having a great time. I've only ever once got into one of my mates used to do the burnouts, and he actually had he had like a car very similar to this. This is a VN Commodore, so they were built in 1989, and this sort of model was my actual first car. But he used to do a lot of burnouts, and V6 3.8 liter engine, just stock was a certainly a powerful car, and he'd be able to throw them around, and the whole cab is full of smoke and you can't breathe, and you're like the guy's like banging on the hood saying stop, your tires are on fire.
Yeah, I've actually got a couple trophies. I've won burnout contests before, my Camaros. So, yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Is that something that you're going to continue doing, or is you sort of parked it for the stage? Or
if we ever get a track a little closer to here, because the one we used to race at and do the burnout contest, that town got getting more developed and stuff, and so the racetrack ended up getting bought out and then a subdivision put in, and so that was kind of, it's a damper. We've lost 3 different racetracks within an hour's drive from here, dirt and drag strips, from basically growth. Basically, somebody buying out the property, or they start putting subdivisions in, and nobody wants to listen to the cars, and complain about them, and so either the county or whoever shuts them down or whatever. Which they've been, a lot of them's been there for years and years, and they're just kind of out in the middle of nowhere. But there's a good thing about growth, in areas, but then man, there's a lot of it comes with a lot of downfalls too, and so there's Long Rifle. Hey buddy, how you doing?
Yeah. G'day, Long Rifle, thanks for coming. Yeah, like we experienced the same thing, like where I am, people are starting to make a bit of noise about the noise and growth, like it's going to happen, obviously, and you can't stop, new developments and everything like that. But, you'd think somebody would have half a brain cell thinking, I'm going to buy a house next door to a racetrack. Maybe it might make a bit of noise on a Saturday afternoon or evening. And that's where it frustrates me. The people that don't have that just one little micron of a brain cell, think they can make the change, and it frustrates me. And they're trying to shut down one of the big drag strips down on the Gold Coast for the exact same reason.
Yeah.
And just want to slap
Texas, our
people.
state, Texas, is having a lot of growing pains now too, because over the last few years, a lot of people moved down there because the politics and from they didn't like from where they were at, and so like you have native animals, land and woods, like an access deer, I think is one of them down there and stuff. Well, some company comes in and buys a 2,000 acre farm that has, several hundred, acres of land and woods on it. And now it's turned into a subdivision. So most all that's just cut down. And so I know they're going through growing pains like that too.
Yeah, like what Mike says here, they're building
Yeah.
developments just near gun ranges, and again, like people need to understand, you are buying a house next door to a racetrack or a gun range. It's going to make noise. If you don't like it, bugger off somewhere else. Simple.
Yeah.
A gun range or a racetrack should not have to shut down because
Mhm.
they have originally they're built in the remote locations, so they don't disturb anybody.
Mhm.
And it's just frustrating. It really is frustrating. I know I'm getting on my soapbox a little bit, saying these guys are idiots. But what do you do? What honestly do you do?
I don't know. Yeah. It's most what I find out is most counties, even if it's down to the county or state, they would rather have, say there's a 2,000 acre farm and that farmer or person's paying taxes on that. Well, if let's sell and the development come in there, even if the neighbors try to stop it, that's money for the county or the state. So they want it to come in because it's more money, in the pockets. We have these developments come in, we can all get a raise, we can hire 6 new people, to work here. And, so that's where the problem starts is, a lot of times the county or the state's not going to say no to more money coming in, so.
No, Mike at Long Rifle there, he says that they've got some range protection acts in Minnesota, and so they should, so they should have that sort of protection, because people obviously want to enjoy those facilities, and it shouldn't be ruined by people making, silly decisions and then suddenly want to cry about it. I got no sympathy for people that move to a place that has got high noise pollution and they know about it. It's not like a surprise, and then they want to complain. And what Hasbro says here, build developments near airports. Brian, have a look and have a look at the area. Everybody's getting really upset at the moment because in Sydney they're actually developing a brand new international airport. Obviously, Sydney is one of our biggest airports, and they can't expand it simply because it's on the water and it's already surrounded by the city and everything. So they've redeveloped a brand new airport a little bit further out. And I tell you, the amount of noise everybody's cracking up about this airport,
Yeah,
it frustrates me.
well, definitely. Well, I found some better pictures while we've been talking. If you want to look at those, maybe it'll give everybody a little bit of peace of mind instead of what. So this is the same place, the Dogwood Canyon Nature Park, and I was able to get a little bit better pictures, a little more full screen. Now they did build this wedding chapel. My oldest daughter and her husband and stuff, they were married here. And right behind that is all log. I mean, it wasn't there before, but they actually built it, out of logs and, authentic the way it would be built. and the creek's right behind it, and so it has a beautiful view right out the backside, and it just kind of shows our terrain and water and stuff here. Yeah. So, oh, there's the inside the church.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So they did it right. That's one thing about Bass Pro is when they do build new construction, they literally go back and use, the proper lumber and like theme that, fits here. And so, yeah, there's a covered bridge. There's that tree house again. And this is all just running into the creek. This is not along our beautiful lake either. So, okay, there's a little better picture of the creek. And they put several dams along the creek just to help keep from flooding, like the heavy spring rains. So, but that's their main lodge where the restaurants and stuff like that is. And they do have a working paddle wheel right there. And so, yeah, it's really neat that they've done some of this. And I was hoping to get some more shots of just the nature part of it. Yeah, there's some of the buffalo up on the southern side of the land where it's a little more pasture and stuff. Yep, I grew up swimming in this creek and fishing it and everything. This is like I got these pictures off of I think it's a Facebook deal or something. So yeah, there's going to be people in them. But anyway, that kind of at least gives you a little bit of an idea about how the scenery is around here. And all right, well, we got hot dog pictures there. So anyway, but they also do have a chuck wagon to where different groups you can actually ride horses and everything, and they cook the meal and everything there in one spot, like a regular old chuck wagon and stuff. So, yeah.
Brian was saying that it looks like a great destination for his RV.
Oh yeah, we have a lot of people come through here, RVing and all that stuff. It's really this area is set up pretty good to handle, pretty much any type of visitors, RVs, bumper pull trailers, about any of that stuff. But it's just a beautiful place here, and I'm so thankful, to be able to grow up in it. And so,
is it the type of place that is not too overly touristy? Like you get swarmed with too many people with their RVs, and it sort of just becomes a little bit overcrowded.
Like in Branson, it does some, and some of the, the theme parks that we have here, just because, it's in the summertime, just because there's a lot of people here. But the outskirts of it, like where I'm at and stuff, and it don't really get, too overcrowded at all. But
yeah, because that's one thing that where I'm at, we're very much we're very touristy, and hey Chad, how are you, mate? And we as locals, we know where not to go because it's too touristy. And when I was a kid, some of those places were the best places in the world, but now they're just swarmed by tourists, and you can't get parking, and there's way too many restaurants, and the whole vibe of the place is gone. And we have to go to other different places, and we try not to let anybody know the local spots. And that's sort of why I was curious, like places like there, like does it actually get a little bit too overwhelmed where where it loses that charm?
Of course, we get some traffic there because, like, that place right there is literally 5 miles from my house. I mean, and my family, we still have property right there close to it. But yeah, I mean, it's not too bad. Like our street, like our main roads, they're definitely, you get behind some traffic here and there, but it's not bumper to bumper. Now in Branson, some of the places like theme parks, getting into Silver City, you're going to be bumper to bumper for a while getting into, some of those places. But like you said, being local, you know where to go and what, roads you can kind of take to bypass those areas. And my wife's a real estate agent. And so she has clients that some of them want right in the middle of downtown, like where everything's going on. And then some of them want places just on the outskirts, to where it's not as busy, but everything's, 15-minute, drive or whatever, and so, yeah, it depends on the person, I guess.
Yeah, that's right. G'day, Gaytan. Hope you're doing well, mate. Good to see you again.
Hi.
But yeah, no, exactly right. Like it is in the pictures there, it looks absolutely amazing. And um, especially in autumn, with the leaves yellow and everything like that. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
that sort of stuff would be amazing to see. Um, something, I'm going to add this place to my to-do list. If I ever get the opportunity to travel there, probably not in winter. I'm too afraid of winter, but in that autumn area, it would be absolutely amazing to see. So as the I guess the last section of our conversation, I want to shift towards the YouTube channel and talk a little bit about that and see what you're doing with your channel and what's happening there.
Alrighty. Oh man. So how I got on YouTube, for a long time, I literally kind of just thought YouTube was some where you went, you typed it in a search engine, how to fix a, thermostat on your refrigerator or something like that, kind of like a how-to video, or whatever. And, once you search it, then a YouTube video will pop up. You can watch a couple of those, you know, maybe when I was looking to purchase a firearm, when I was like thinking, well, I like this one, but I'd like to see some reviews on it, I would, a lot of times do that. And a lot of times it brought up Hickok 45, on those. Because
Yep.
the guy's shot and reviewed about everything there is over the last several years. And I had no idea there's like content. I had no idea there was live shows, and so I was always busy. I owned an excavating company, for many years. I didn't have time to watch, something on the internet, let alone, even watch much TV. But during the COVID shutdown, of course, we all had a lot of time on our hands. So I was actually looking for a pistol or something I was, thinking about buying. And so it brought up Hickok 45. And then on that Hickok, there was somebody visiting that, on that video. And it was Matt Carricker from Demolition Ranch. And so, at the end of the video, I was like, oh, that guy's kind of funny, And so I clicked on the link and went over to his channel. And I'm like, what is all this content? And when I went to his channel, the very first video that is suggested to me was where Kentucky Ballistics was on the video. And so I'm like, oh, wow. I was like, I didn't know who's part of what channel or nothing. I started watching some of this stuff, and I'm like, gosh, man, these people have all kinds of firearm, shows, and they're funny. They're, different things, they're entertainment. So I started watching some of those, and then it grew from there. And anyway, I found myself during that time watching, more YouTube, and yeah, there's my channel, and so I found myself watching a little more YouTube, and then like in the evening, say me and my wife after dinner, we'd sit down and watch TV, and got noticing that the TV shows. It's like, man, I really wouldn't even want my grandkids watching some of this junk that they're showing on TV. I'm not talking like HBO or nothing. I'm talking just your four main stations or whatever, three or four main stations. And I was like, we sitting there one night, and I'll never forget it. I'm sitting there and we're watching some movie that's a series on TV, and of course, about halfway through the season, this person is cheating on this person, like, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, man, they just took a good show and turned it to filth.
Mm.
And I said, I can make better, shows than this. It's more entertainment. And by this time, my wife's tired of me being in the house, and during COVID shutdown, we had so much time together, and it's like I was like, I think I could start doing YouTube videos, and give more entertainment than what these stupid these shows on TV are. It's like some of it's just filth. And she goes, why don't you? And I'm like, I should. She goes, no, I mean, really, why don't you start tomorrow and get out of the house and go do some of this stuff and leave me alone, And so I'm like, oh, well, yeah, I could probably do that. And so basically, I just kind of thought of a video, thought might want to do, might be entertainment, and so I did it. I had no idea how to edit. I had no idea how to even start my own YouTube channel. I didn't grow up on computers or nothing. And so that's kind of where it started. I put out a video about every, I don't know, month, maybe if I was lucky. And then started getting people to watch it and finding like people commenting. And I'm like, on this video and then on another video. And I'm like, oh, this person seems really cool. So it just kind of started building a relationship, and basically making me want to do more videos. I'm like, this is really fun. I'm having a good time. I'm not any good at it. I'm just out here trying to have fun, do some entertainment. Yeah, face perfect for radio, definitely. And so it just kind of grew from that. And then after I had been doing videos for I don't know how many months, my wife's we were talking, and I was like, so either like I start doing more of this, buy some more buy a camera, and start updating stuff, or I can just go back on to doing something else or whatever, because I was trading the stock market for a living. That's what I'm still doing now, after the shutdown. And so I had time on my hands, and so I told her, I said, tell you what, I'll give it 1 year. If I can hit 1,000 subscribers, when in what's left from the year or whatever by this date, then I'll just kind of keep doing it, and investing a little bit of money in it and stuff. If not, then I'll just do a video every now and then. And thankful for all the community and everybody. And it's just been great. And so I hit the 1,000 subscribers in that amount of time. And so I've just kind of went on from there. And then, the fellowship, like I said, the fellowship and friends has just grown. And then I somebody that had a live show. I had no idea there was any live shows like this. I had no idea. And I'd been on YouTube for, I don't know, probably 7, 8 months, maybe 6 months. I don't know. I had no idea that there was these gun communities and these live shows. I had no idea. And some guy had watched one of my videos and made a comment. His name was Travis P11. And he said, I think you're funny. I really had a lot of fun watching your show. Would you like to be a guest on my live show? And of course, I had to respond back. I'm like, what's that? You know, it's like, where you live at? I mean, I live here in Ozark Mountains. I mean, we're going to meet up. You know, I had no idea, you know. And so he's like, I'll just email you or whatever. So we started corresponding over email. And he's like, yeah, come on my show. And so my very first time on the show, also Chris from 740 was on there as a guest, on the panel. And so, we hit it off good. And then the other people on the panel, and Chris is like, oh, I'd like for you to come on my show sometime. And so it just kind of built to this. I was visiting, being a guest on somebody else's live show. And then they said, I had like several people tell me, he's like, oh, you need to start your own. You need to start your own. And so that's where Guns, Beer, and Therapy started. And so, yeah. But I like entertainment. I've done more reviews. Not that I don't appreciate companies sending stuff to the channel. And I do appreciate that. And I do have fun, kind of doing some reviews. But I would rather, like, for me, I'd rather like just do a fun video, shooting stuff and just, so that's where my passion is just, like shooting my grandkids swimming pool, I mean, stuff like that. Just the different things that I've done, on the channel. And so basically just the entertainment part of it. And just, I feel like if I can bring people on, they have a good time. And if I can make them laugh, then they're not thinking about all the bad stuff or worry stuff that's going on in the world around us. And so if I can give them, 10 minutes, 15 minutes of just, freedom of just laughing and, stuff like that, then I feel that it's worth it.
Donald Hasbro wants you to play the salsa.
Yeah. I've done a lot of silly videos. And
that's a part of it. That's really is the part of it. And, meeting great people and, exactly the same for me, meeting great people like yourself and, Brian and Chad and Nibs. And I could sit here and name names all day, but, like this community, is by far, the best, like everybody gets to hang out and talk and, like what you guys are doing on Guns, Beer, and Therapy is that, people can jump on and hang out and, chew the fat, so they speak, to be able to chill out and, focus on something different. Because obviously, like the world is in an interesting place at the moment. And to be able to just sort of veg out and have a bit of a giggle and separate yourself for that little bit is certainly a great thing. So, I really wanted to say thank you for everything that you're doing for that as well. And, giving everybody the opportunity to be able to go in there and just hang out and break up that little bit of that weekly stress.
Yeah. It's definitely such a wonderful community. I mean, I literally have, like best friends now, that's in the YouTube community that, we talk to each other on the cell phone, or whatever. And, it's just, it's so great. And then one thing I really like to do on Guns, Beer, and Therapy is we'll mostly start out with one, maybe two firearm topics, but then we just go on from there. And so, we might be talking about movies, music, cars, and when sometimes, if we're talking about a firearm, maybe not everybody on that side chat or that's watching can relate to that one particular firearm or whatever, right? But when we talk about your favorite car or first car you had growing up, everybody can relate in that, So like you see the side chat just start blowing up, I had this, blah blah blah. This is my favorite, blah blah blah. So, it's just a great time to be able to bring people together, even though we are a family in a 2A community, but we all have so much of the same interest in music, cars, movies, maybe, we can always find connections, not only here in the United States, but also, like with you, internationally, people from, other countries, uh, maybe the way people is raised. Some people's, was born and raised and still live in the country. Some people might be in the city, and so when we take all that stuff that I think a lot of times TV news, all that stuff tries to divide us,
Yep.
regardless of what it is, race, where you're from, what country you're from. When we can take all that and we can just be friends, we can relate with each other on different topics and stuff. We find out that we're all a lot alike. I mean, regardless where we're from, we have a lot of the same love for some same hobbies, and all that. And we're not as different as what sometimes we're told that we are.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I've certainly found that out very quickly. Sharing and talking about shooting experiences and other little experiences, with you guys, and everybody tries to divide, but as you said, we're exactly the same, and we're all. I'd have to look through, but somebody said, it's funny, people are enjoying shooting are also love mechanics and they're all gearheads and everything like that. So it's no matter where you are, everybody wants to share that passion. So um and like other shows, like foreign and domestic. So thank you very much, mate. I'd be more than happy to come on. It'd be an absolute honor
That's
to
another
get on there.
great
And
live show. You
yeah.
definitely, yes.
um And Chris says the Hillbilly Variety Show.
Yeah. Yeah. And when I think of something, and, I most usually like test it out on my wife. And most usually she's like, looks at me, she's like, yeah, that's kind of funny. Then I know it's pretty good. That's good. But when she looks at me or whatever, I tell her if it's whatever costume I got on or whatever, and she starts laughing. If I can make my own wife laugh like that, then I'm like, okay, this one's going to be a hit, But
So plenty of episodes because you're stream every week, yeah.
yeah, we stream every Saturday night, 9 o'clock Central, 10 o'clock Eastern, and of course we have a lot. We like to have a lot of guests on. We like to have companies on, and that's one thing when we get a company that comes on. I really one thing I push for, and especially when like somebody sends me something to try or whatever, I always ask for a discount. I'm like, so what can you give Hillbilly Nation? Can you
Yeah.
give can you give them a discount or something? So I'm always trying to find something good for everybody. If it's a discount, whatever the case might be, and so
Because I remember watching a stream. Yeah, this one here. We had Shooting Target 7.
yeah, we've had several companies on. Blackbeard Fire. I mean, there's just several different ones that just. And what's really great when we have a company on is not only the people on the panel, but on the side chat, they get to ask them questions, And so it really helps you relate to that person that's either owns that company or that works at that company, and you get some questions asked, And so I feel like it's a really good match, for companies to come on to, live shows like this, to, basically you can put a face behind something. You can actually ask questions instead of just going through an email or through a Q&A, on a computer. And so I think it's always a great deal. Yeah. My
Yeah.
dogs agree too, I guess.
Yeah, they agree as well.
Excited.
Mike, I just want to say thank you once again for coming on, and it's been fascinating to learn more about you and where you grew up and everything like that. So I just want to say thank you, and same as everybody that's come along and joined. Chad and Chris and like Nibs, TJ, Hasbro, Fairview Precision, George, Crazy Scotsman, and everybody else. So, Mike, I just want to say thank you once again, mate.
Thank you so much for having me. I've had a good time, a lot of fun sitting here getting to visit with you, and of course, a great side chat out there. These shows would be nothing without all these awesome people on the side chat. Me and you, we can just talk on the phone, and that's we have more fun on here, with the support of all these people, and so it's great.
Exactly right. So so everybody, don't forget to join in. Gear. I always make the mistake. Guns, beer, and therapy. A little bit later on, roughly around about 4.5 hours time. For that awesome thing. So, yeah, mate. So thank you once again.
Alrighty, and also Scotsman out there. Yeah, I'll share Alan's email with you, brother. And
yeah, please do.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. We'll see. Oh, actually, before we go, I've got the next guest on this stream will be the man, the myth, and I've got lots and lots of questions for him because I want to know actually where he gets these things from and how he does it. It's actually nibs, walnut, and steel. So
right.
I'm looking forward to that conversation with him. Because that man, I swear, he's like a Mary Poppins bag. Like every single day, there's a new one. So that's going to be an interesting conversation as well, to see a little bit behind the story with Walnut and Steel and everything like that. And Chris, thank you so much. Really appreciate all your support. You always comment on my videos and chat and. And I just for the community as well. So it's going to be great.
Yeah, and if you ain't done nothing in a couple hours, please come over to Guns, Beer, and Therapy and join us there. See, my time here is like 6:40, and so it starts at 9:00. So about 2 hours and 20 minutes. They'll be starting up, and they'll be on Hillbilly up. So we'd love to have you. Appreciate it. And oh man, this has been a lot of fun, buddy. You definitely. And are you doing anything later? Are you going to be on Guns, Beer, and Therapy in a couple hours?
Oh, of course.
All right. Awesome. All right. That is so great.
So I've dropped the link as well to Guns, Beer, and Therapy in the chat. So make sure everybody jumps on that as well. All right, mate. We'll see you then. All right.
All right. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it.